Mark Meadows, out of all of the people that have been indicted along with Donald Trump in Georgia, 19 total, including Trump, Mark Meadows seems to be having the toughest time with this. Because Mark Meadows, so far, has been repeatedly slapped around by District Attorney Fani Willis, and on Thursday morning, he was also smacked around by a federal district judge who told him, "We will not be granting you an extension. I am siding with Fani Willis, who said you cannot have an extension, and you will turn yourself in Friday by 12:30 p.m. Eastern, or I'm going to let her go ahead and issue that arrest warrant and send the cops after you." Meadows has repeatedly failed with the arguments that he has tried to make in court so far. And the reason that is a big deal, this isn't just about, hey, turn yourself in or we're going to arrest you. It's because next week, early next week, Mark Meadows has to go in front of a federal judge and make these same arguments. Not that he shouldn't be arrested, but basically that my case does not belong in state court. It belongs in federal court, which is why he didn't want to have to surrender himself anyway, because he says, hey, this isn't the venue where I'm going to be charged. I'm going to move mine to federal court. But he has not successfully been able to make that argument in front of the judge so far. The judge basically told him, I don't care. You still, while it's in state court, have to abide by the state court rules. But here's another problem that Mark Meadows has, and this was laid out by Fani Willis in her response to the judge, or her response, I guess, to his motion requesting a extension. She pointed out the fact that if Meadows is actually arguing that what he did in Georgia was part of his official duties as the chief of staff to the president, which is what would make it move to federal court, she says, well, wait a minute, though. Wouldn't that be a violation of the Hatch Act? So, Meadows, if you're successful in moving your case from state court to federal court because you make the successful argument that, hey, I was a federal official just working on campaign stuff, awesome, you can get hit with new charges. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't at this point, bud. You better hope it stays in state court. Because if that thing gets moved over to federal, you easily could get popped with Hatch Act violations that are actually pretty significant. See, this is what happens when you're part of a, alleged criminal empire. Everything you touch just immediately turns into potentially illegal activity, depending on who is looking at it. And Meadows is in for a rough time. First and foremost, I don't think he has a valid argument to move it from state court to federal court to begin with. Because even though, that law passed after the Civil War that does in fact say, hey, if it's a federal official, even at a state offense, it can be moved to federal court, it doesn't say it has to be moved to federal court. Not to mention the fact that Meadows was actually in Georgia as not part of his official duties. So arguing that you were using your official capacity to do campaign work either means, okay, you can't be tried in state court, you can be tried in federal court, but you also now are facing serious Hatch Act violations, or you're flat out lying and you're not going to be able to prove that this was an official part of your capacity because you don't want to get hit with those additional Hatch Act violation charges. So there's no good outcome here for Mark Meadows. He may have squealed to Jack Smith about the other prosecutions, but Fani Willis doesn't seem to care, nor should she care. It all hinges on what Mark Meadows says next week, and it's either going to leave him in state court or potentially get him hit with additional charges. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.